How are you?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I expect any minute to have howling winds blowing through the apartment.
Are you
I'm a
in
little,
New York right now?
I'm a little north of New York, so I'm near I think it's supposed to become this way, but it may not. Who knows? Hey, it's been a long time. You were on such an early episode of my podcast with Sun Don't Shine.
Yes, I remember. I just said right before we got. I was like, oh, I know Adam. Like
Yeah.
right before they joined us. Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you again. I was so happy to see that you were making another feature, which led me to wonder why, because you're having such success in the episodics realm. What brought you back to making another feature besides a reunion with your actor friends?
I mean, there's several things. I mean, nothing can replace the sort of the feeling of making an independent film. Like nothing can. And I feel like some of the like there's very few people that understand that. David Lowery included, and Soderbergh included in that is like being like there's just something I just need to explore because I have to do it this way. There's just it's in you love working in these bigger realms, but then there's also just like I need this to be this specific thing and I need to get it out in this way. It's like if I was a designer and I had my I designed for H&M and I was like, I really want to design this weird thing and like and put it out in the world.
Right.
But yeah, but and then in addition to that, it takes a long time to develop things. So there's also really lovely immediacy to making independent films when you have like not just the immediacy of like having your own ideas come across, but like, immediacy of like it can happen much quicker than some of these other things can happen.
Yes, right. In fact, I mean, I only bring this up because I think it is actually a point of pride. It should be a point of pride, but you don't read this usually in press notes that you didn't even get money together or wait for money to be invested in the film. Is that true? And you just sort of went ahead with making this particular film?
Yeah, I had one conversation about maybe somebody financing it, and very quickly, not because they were dumb or anything, but mostly, mostly they were doing their job. They're like, "What's the movie about?" I'm like,
Yes.
"Whatever I want it to be about." And it was like they had all these questions that I was like, I don't want to answer these, and also I just want it to I want to answer to myself, and I have the luxury of doing that right now. Granted, it's very small, and yes, like hopefully people will eventually on the other side see money. But it was I am lucky enough to not just to pay for the movie, but also work with people who want to be doing something different, and they're doing it for the love of it as opposed to the fame or the money of it,
Yeah, well, clearly, and these are people that know you and know where you're coming from and have obviously trust you.
Yeah.
And so there's that, and you guys must have a sort of a creative shorthand or some sort of shorthand anyway, because people like Caitlin and Jane and Tucker et al. You've worked with these guys.
Yeah, and pretty much everyone in the movie, and even on my crew, it's all very family oriented in a way, and I mean, save the additions of Michelle Rodriguez and Josh Lucas, the entire cast are people that I have worked with either as an actor or a director, and then my crew included as well. And yeah, it's really fun, and I can't wait to like continue to make movies with these people who like with myself, but then also with the people that I'm working with, because they continually like as we come back together and we work together, they've developed their skill set to such a high level that it's really fun to come back together after you've been, you know, like from the last thing, and just be like, wow, we all have this vast knowledge of like of what to do and wield these sort of tools that we've learned, and get excited to sort of push them to their boundaries, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so like when you in 50 years, you can get together and you guys will be untouchable. You'll be like so
untouchable and senile. Imagine that movie. Like, I want to see that movie where we're all like at the top of our skill set and we're totally senile, you know.
You just point Kentucker in the right direction and just
you're like, he has a handler that like just moves.
Knowing though full well he's going to deliver once you say action, you know, because it's
completely.
Like the long-term memory. There's the instincts still are there. So like this night is kind of a nihilistic scenario. This film, it's called She Dies Tomorrow. It's got a big time distributor. Great. Neon is fantastic. I think it's a great match for you and the film. What do you think? Like maybe this one is it's okay that it's not in theaters, maybe because people need to see this in the comfort, you know, of their home and have the conversations at home. It's it works, I think, on that level, maybe. I mean, I'm sure you wanted your second feature to be in the theater, but it's in drive-ins actually this week.
It's in drive-ins, yeah. It's in drive-ins, right. But yeah, I mean, of course, as a filmmaker, you want it to be in theaters, you know. But you, and I will say, I really hope we do, like when we're allowed to safely go back to theaters, I really do hope there's some special screenings, because the mix that they did at Goldcrest, or we did at Goldcrest, is pretty wild and definitely makes you feel like you're vibrating. So I really do hope we get that experience, because we were so excited to have it premiere and have people like sort of vibrating in their seats. Like you really you really can feel things vibrating when like it's in full effect. But at the same time, like you know in working in television, and then in also being lucky enough to have a friend and boss and collaborator like Steven Soderbergh, you know, like we talk about this all the time. It's like, however you can get to an audience, and whatever that process is, or whatever the medium is, or whatever the sort of conduit or whatever, however it gets there is like whatever, great. Great, as many, we want as many eyeballs on this as we can, because it's like we're trying to reach people and have a conversation with people, you know, in this way. So I'm like, I love going to, you know, to a theater. I love the experience of it. I wouldn't be a filmmaker if I didn't love that. But I also, you know, I also respect the way that everything's evolving in a way.
I see what you mean. Did you get to did you have the opportunity to do a drive-in QA?
I did it via Zoom. It was very surreal. and because it was so surreal and I needed a good laugh, just like for a release, I like texted Donald Glover, who's my dear friend, and I was like, do you want to just like crash my Zoom right now? And he was like, yes, I do. So like Donald was there. It was just like, it was wild. But like nothing in quarantine, like in a Zoom sense, there's like everything seems so surreal and distant, like almost like it's not happening, you know? So it was, I'm sure for the people at the drive-in, I wasn't there. I'm sure for people at the drive-in, they're like, what's happening on the screen right now? But from home, I was like, yeah, Donald's here and we're just having this wild Q&A. You know? I
know it seems like that's such a benefit. It's like if you're doing these things, you can invite people and have a little bit of fun. I mean, you know, it's as an audience member, I enjoyed that, appreciated it.
Well, I mean, I think about this all the time. Like when you're in entertainment, you know, when we work in entertainment, even though like my film, however people consider it, is maybe an art film or it's a niche or whatever it is, or it's a genre film or whatever. it's like then when you have these opportunities to be like, you know, in person, why aren't we're still, even if I'm saying the same things about my movie over and over and over, you know, like in a Q&A, it's like, why aren't we using these opportunities to sort of be entertaining, or to like have people crash and have people like do, you know, it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to, not to say that I want to do public stunts or anything, but it's just, it's like, yeah, like they're here to be entertained no matter what I say. So it's like, it's fun that I have access to like really brilliant friends that can do like, I'll crash. Yeah, great. You know?
Sure. Yeah. But did Soderbergh have, but he wasn't on this film though, right? What's that?
No.
No, I didn't think
No,
so.
I mean, I sent him some cuts. And interestingly enough, there is there is a cut that he sent me. He was like, I did some edits, because I sent him the cut, and then he loves to do this and say, he's like, I have some edits, and I was like, and I watched it, and it was funny because I was watching it and I was like live texting him, and I was like, I know what you're doing and it doesn't work. And like, so there is a version of the movie that's Soderbergh re-edited that I think is really fascinating, because obviously he's a brilliant filmmaker, and I love everything. And actually, his next movie, Let Them All Talk, is so good. It's like maybe my favorite of his movies. But so obviously I respect him, and I think it's really brilliant. But or he's really brilliant. But like what is so funny is he's like, him re-editing my movie, he knows it doesn't work, so he like thinks it's funny to like send me an edit of my movie. But he's also like, maybe there's an idea in there that you might see, and I respect that, but I also know that he respects me enough to know that I'm like, yeah, this is not gonna work, Steven. So yeah,
That's amazing. That's really amazing. Can you imagine if there was the Soderbergh edit of every film, or you know, every independent film anyway?
there's a guy
awesome.
Well, honestly, he's so prolific and so efficient with his time that he probably could do an entire library of a re-edit of every movie.
Well, the name of this one is again called She Dies Tomorrow. When did you get the idea for this? Because of course, I'm sure everybody who you're talking to is making the parallels. It's about a contagion, more of a psycho social one, I suppose you could call it. Maybe I botched that up, but it's all about anxiety about the world we live in and where we're at. And man, does that make I mean, I know you wrote this and made this film way before the pandemic, so
Yeah.
you had obviously no clue, but where was your head at when you were writing this?
I mean, I have a lot of anxiety, like existential anxiety in general, and was dealing with my own anxiety about certain particular things in my life, and then realized that when I would talk about them with friends, that I was sort of spreading anxiety, and then
that makes sense then.
yeah, and then in addition to that, it's like I'm also sort of a news junkie. And I watch a lot of news, and I mean, I've actually tapered it down. It was almost like it's almost like I had to treat it like it was an addiction.
Right.
Because I would just like have it on all day, you know? And
but that can really cause a lot of anxiety. I know. I mean, I noticed it just trying to get some of the coverage of just the weather today, because I normally don't watch a lot of cable television for news, you know, but I was today, and then of course the news from Beirut comes in, and then the more recent Trump interview with Axios, and it's just now my mind is reeling a bit, you know. But anyway, This obviously had a great impact on your stories, the point, right? Because
completely.
It's all about spreading of this anxiety that you were talking about.
Right, and I'm always trying to toe the line of like being informed and then being paranoid, you know, and not just. And then what I realized is that there were all these ideas spreading, and a lot of them were fear-based, whether you're left or right or middle, center, whatever. And then especially in local news, it's like, am I better for knowing that a murder happened 4 doors down from my house? You know, it's like, it's just telling you all these horrific things that like, and even as somebody that like loves Dateline, you know what I mean? Loves hearing Keith Morrison's voice explore these really fucked up things. It's like, it really, like these fears, and like no matter what they are, whether it's like death or whatever it is, they fear is such a barbed sort of like virus in itself. Is like, even if you can like intellectually you ingest something and somebody tells you you should be afraid of this thing, you're just like, I'm not afraid. But like somewhere in your body, because your body is there to protect you, it's like barbed itself in there, you know, like, and sometimes we'll go into fight or flight if you're triggered enough, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. And of course, when you're sleeping, all these things can catch up with you too, I suppose.
Oh yeah. I don't sleep very well.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could go on. I think we're getting the word that I have to wrap up, I guess. But I want to just tell you, I'm excited for this film. I want a lot of people to see it. And I'm excited that you're back making features. Not that you stopped or anything, but I've enjoyed the TV work too, the episodes.
Thank you.
It's good to see you all anytime, you know.
Yes, thank you. Good to see you too. I hope the hurricane passes.
Yeah. No, I'm not worried about that. I just, you know, we'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and good luck.
Thank you.
She died
Take care.
tomorrow. All right. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Okay.